Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Akil. How do you speak in public and do it well? That's what we cover in today's episode, and joining me is Sabyasachi Sengupta. He's the founder of Method in Madness, where they also have a podcast. He talks a lot about business transformation, change, and innovation, and besides that, he does a lot with public speaking, stands on stage almost every week, and is really good at it. I'll put all his socials in the description below, and with that being said, enjoy the episode.
Beyond Coding.
I was wondering, since you do a lot with public speaking, like what was your first experience with public speaking? Why did you get into it in the first place?
Ooh, I don't know if a debate competition also qualifies as a public speaking.
I think so. Yeah.
So I was 10 years old. 10 years old. So, here's the thing. I was a very skinny, small guy. I was very shy. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up.
Okay.
I was not an introvert, but I was just a bit reserved. If I find my kind of people, I'm an extrovert. If I don't, I completely, I'm very guarded. I don't speak. So that was my childhood till I was pretty much 18.
Yeah.
So a lot of people from my childhood look at me on social media today that I'm speaking and this and that. They're like, whoa, how did you transform? How did you become this? But I was always this outgoing person. It's just, I need to feel that connect,
The right environment.
Yeah. And of course, as a child, you're self-conscious. You don't want to stand out.
Yeah.
Something that we crave to do as an adult. We don't want to do that as a kid. I loved speaking at home, and I was very argumentative, very to the point. I was, and growing up in a culture like India, it was never appreciated to talk back to parents and to family members with logic.
Yeah.
And when people cannot cut you with logic, they bring the age. But we are older than you.
Yeah.
And that really works
Because
a lot.
I'm your parent.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because I'm your parent. So my brother, actually, my elder brother, channelized this inner rebel in me and cajoled me to go for a debate competition in school. I still remember the topic was, is television a vice, or a television is a good thing or bad thing? Now, this is 1995, where a television was already the talk of the town.
Yeah.
We didn't have Netflix or WhatsApp or Instagram. So we were already discussing how much screen time we spend on TV.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that television is a good thing, just like anything. It has a vices and virtues. It's how you choose it. It was very nerve-wracking because, first of all, I think my teachers and my classmates were shocked that I volunteered. It was not willful. I was cajoled and blackmailed by my brother, who really wrote a speech for me, who really pushed me to go and do it in front of the class, which was very, very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I was really, really extremely nervous when I did it. But I also remember the feeling. I didn't win, but I do remember that feeling when I went past the first two lines. I went completely off script.
Yeah.
I forgot most of the things, but I kept talking. I kept making points, and I was like, okay, I can speak.
Yeah.
I never did it again. I like here and there presentation. But I remember like when I was 17, 18 in the high school, our teacher sometimes gave us these impromptu topics to talk about. And it was like a class of 80 people. They were not listening. You're in the rebel teens. You don't want to listen to the teacher, and you're like disrupting the class. And I went and I spoke. I spoke about Indian snack. And you have to make metaphor with these things.
Okay.
And I spoke about how all the spices come together to make this beautiful. And if one of the ingredient is missing, how the food is so lackluster. And we all need to stay together just like this to make, bring our energies, bring our skills, and make our class a success.
Yeah.
As I started speaking, I saw a pinch of silence.
Okay.
I saw the crowd was listening. Those 80 unruly kids who otherwise would normally bully me or make fun of me are now listening to me, are giving me full attention. And when I finished, they applauded for me. And then a cool dude goes after me to speak, and he does not have the command over the crowd. They just not listening to him. They're just
to follow up on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I felt like words were my weapons, As a very like I said, I was very conscious of how I look. I was very skinny. very shy.
Yeah.
Didn't have. I was very average in studies. I had nothing going right for me except words. Words were my weapons, and that's how I developed it. Of course, I didn't at that age. I didn't have the maturity to understand that.
Yeah.
But I kept nurturing it in college, doing presentations, going for more debates. And then never stopped talking. I'm still talking. I think I've answered the question already, but I'm still talking. This is what happens when you do public speaking.
No worries, no worries at all. I was wondering why your brother, like when you were that young, why was it so important for him for you to do that? Did you ever have that conversation with him?
My brother has been really the driving force, a big force in my life, who has noticed qualities in me that I did not know that existed, and has pushed me to do things. And I being sibling, I think we both have similar interests. I think he's also very good in debates and presentations, and I think part of him, he lived that that energy and that motivation through me. Like I was living his passion for public speaking. He was living his passion for public speaking through me, in a way. But I think we've both had similar childhood. We've also seen similar bullyings, similar situations. So he's a bit older than me, so he also realized that probably I need those words as weapons to protect me.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I'm the oldest of four.
Yeah.
Like my my oldest little brother, he's 7 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And my sister, she's 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And the youngest brother is 16 years younger than me.
Wow.
So there's quite the age difference.
My brother's 10 years older than me.
10
so,
years.
Yeah.
So you got that one. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because always what I found, like with the brother that's 7 years younger than me, I grew up with him the most, right? I'm now out of my parents' place. My youngest brother he's coming up. He's going to be 12 soon. Like there's a big age difference there. So with the oldest little brother, man, I have trouble saying that. In any case, with the first one, I tried to give all my knowledge to him, right? All my learnings, all my mistakes and all my learnings, I would try and be like, okay, these are the things and this is my advice and blah, 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 because I thought that would really help him. And
that also backfires, because trust me, I mean, if you speak to my brother, he would say I'd listen to probably 5% or less than that what he tells me.
Yeah.
But mistakes, learning from mistakes is really I think learning from your own mistakes is the best way of learning. Yeah. So if you want someone not to make mistakes and already give a template, this is right, this is wrong, it probably doesn't work. We all need to make our own mistakes to learn. Yeah,
because, I agree with that now. Back then I was like, listen, these mistakes, no, you don't have to make
these.
We
all need to make the same mistakes, because if you don't make mistakes at the young age, you will probably make them at older age, which has a bigger price. So it's good to make mistakes. Mistakes are good learning points, I think.
I mean, I agree. It's just back then I didn't agree. I like that nowadays as adults, like it's okay and it's accepted that people make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really, how do you say that? You don't punish them for mistakes. As a kid, sometimes you get punished for mistakes. Like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Yeah. And that probably, you take that with you as an adult.
Absolutely. And the world that I grew up in is the 90s, scarcity was really a thing. Opportunities, jobs were not easy then, I remember speaking to my peers now, when I speak to them, even at the age of 14, 15, they were concerned where they will work, what is going to be their career, how are they going to make both ends meet in few years. I was really not worried. I had my own, I was the male version of Alice in Wonderland. I had my own Wonderland where I could escape. I had my own Narnia. I would go there, be happy, draw and everything. Of course, the world around me changed as I grew older, but that mentality of really hard work, we need to really put everything, was there, and yeah, it's a very hard one to compete with, So that's the 90s.
Yeah, I like that. There's always different kind of nature versus nurture things. I still think a lot has to do with upbringing.
Yeah,
but a lot you also still have in you, right? Your brother might have pushed you to do something, but you already had it in you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been
Yeah, I'm sure.
blossoming.
I'm sure because there's many other things he pushed me for that didn't work out. So that's definitely a thing. And also, I think what you said about upbringing, we mentioned our friend Alex. You know,
Yeah.
we our common connection. I remember talking to him a few weeks back. I had a big speaking assignment. I was going for a big workshop for a whole day, and I was very nervous that I'm going to mess it up. I mean, even though I'm confident in the work I did, I've already known those stakeholders, but still it's a big one. And I was really nervous. And I remember calling Alex and telling him, I think I'm going to completely mess it up.
Yeah.
What do you think? And he said, like, okay, what story do you tell yourself if you mess it up? I'm like, that I'm not good enough. I'm messing up every opportunity and everything. And he's like, is this how you got treated when you were a kid? I'm like, yeah. Every time I saw an opportunity go past me where I didn't get an admission to a school, or I didn't get the grades that I would deserve, or my teachers expected more from me, this is how I was getting treated, that I'm not good enough, I'm messing up opportunities, I'm not putting enough effort. I've only seen anger, frustrations, grief.
Yeah.
And his question was, did you like it? I said, no, I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So his counter question was, then don't treat yourself now how you didn't want to be treated as a kid.
Yeah.
And that was such a moment of epiphany for me that, like, gee, I've been treating myself exactly how I didn't want to be treated.
Yeah.
So
That is so Alex also.
that is so Alex.
Yeah.
He's a really amazing guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Because I don't know if it was during the episode, but he mentioned a few things. And I was like, yeah, that happened in my childhood. And now I see that I'm doing that to myself now,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Alex has this magic power
Yeah.
to take you back to your childhood.
Yeah.
And show you the mirror, how you are
Exactly.
still that child, and you've grown in experience in your life and everything, but you're still functioning like that. I would say insecure child,
Yeah.
and that's confronting, but also comforting because now you know what not to do.
Exactly. You're aware.
Yeah,
That's the powerful thing. I was
Exactly.
thinking exactly the same metaphor. He puts a mirror in front of you
yeah,
and shows you the reality. You met Alex through Toastmasters,
yes,
right? Was that Toastmasters here? Like
yes, in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam actually.
And did you join Toastmasters before already, or was this kind of your first intro?
So I joined Toastmasters in 2010 when I moved to the Netherlands.
yeah.
That was my first year. The first year in the Netherlands is never easy, you know. This country, the autumn, the weather is fantastic. The food is lovely. The people are warm. Okay, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I was like, where did you
I
go?
saw your expression. He's like, what are you talking
I mean,
about?
I've been here since year one, so it's like, yeah.
No, but like I remember like October, November, the autumn really hits you hard. The food and I just missed warmth. I missed the sun, and it was really, really frustrating time for me. Also, my brother is in the Netherlands. He told me, you love talking. Why don't you? There's this group of people that need to talk.
Yeah.
Toastmasters. Why don't you go and meet them and join? And very reluctantly, December 2010, I went there, and I was very shy to like, oh my God, these are outstanding speakers. What am I going to do in front of them? And they gave me the table topic that's like impromptu speaking. Still remember the topic they gave me. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And I said, speaking in front of an unknown crowd. I've never done that before. And yeah, they even gave me a prize for best the impromptu speaker that evening.
Wow.
And then I never left.
Yeah.
This was 12, 13 years later. I'm still a member. And also co-founded a club in Amsterdam. And yeah, that's where I met a lot of amazing people, including Alex. It's a great place to learn public speaking, groom in public speaking, and also a lot of leadership qualities I've learned there because there's a board that runs the club. You get mentored. You also mentor people, so it is really a safe space to try something new.
Yeah.
And I always tell this to people whenever they want to do something new in that safe space. Is like doing something new in Toastmasters is like painting a canvas. If it's bad, you can throw it away. But if it's good, you can use the same skills to paint your wall.
I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful. Toastmasters, like I've heard it before.
Yeah.
I had a guest on. It was Juan, actually, colleague of mine, Juan Manuel Perafan.
Yeah, I know him.
You know him?
Of course.
Also
I know
through
him.
Toastmasters.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. And I was
Yeah,
like,
of course.
he really pitched Toastmasters to me. And I was thinking about it. I was like,
he's
okay,
really awesome. Yeah.
It sounds like a really good deal. But I always, and this is probably like a personal problem, I have trouble starting sometimes, right? Because I think about, okay, the time investment, like I take the responsibility seriously. So I would go.
Okay, I'll drag you next time.
It's going to be hard for me to say no. But in any case, like how gradually did you start? Were you all in from the start?
No, I wasn't. I mean, so I think a Toastmaster journey goes through, that like first it's amazing, then you lose interest, then you get interest. It goes through ups and downs. But the thing that really hooked me to Toastmasters were the competitions.
Okay.
We had twice a year competition in various categories: humorous speech, impromptu speaking, evaluation, which is about hearing a speech and giving feedback within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What can be done better? What can be done? An international speech, which goes up to world championship. So if you have a speech, you can become a world champion of public speaking.
Yeah.
Which is really amazing.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah. Haven't done that yet. Still on my bucket list. But I've gone as far as winning 2 times the European level competition, which is the district in the speech evaluation competitions, and second and third prize in humorous and international speech. So
Awesome.
still some work to do there.
Still awesome though, yeah.
But the first time you're in such a big stage, I mean, I remember it was Lyon. I was competing. I was representing that back then. The division was the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And there were several other European countries competing there. And I was the new kid on the block, 2014.
Okay.
It's electrifying to be in front of 450 people. And it was humorous speech. So I was making jokes and they were laughing. I was getting applause, rooting, laughing. It was a surreal moment.
Yeah.
And for me, that really got me hooked, because I saw not the award actually, it's more the appreciation and also the journey I had from a club level to that level, because there are like at least 3 levels that you have to win before you go to that European district level.
Yeah.
It's you learn so much and you meet so many people. You ask people for feedback, ask them to review your speech. You learn so many nuances, details of how you're using your stage, how you're moving, how your body language is looking, how the punchline is going or not working. So many details. At the same time, sometimes even only 10 or 5% is useful. Rest is just someone's opinion. Everything is opinion,
Yeah.
So you have to choose what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep. And that learning was so rich that I felt like I want to do this again and again.
That's really cool.
I have lost way more times than I've won.
Yeah.
Way more times. I've won few times, like I've competed. It's vulnerable thing to really put myself out there every year. Lose, sometimes win. But like I said, I think the biggest takeaway is the things you learn in that preparation phase. It's amazing.
Yeah, the journey itself.
For sure.
That is so cool.
That gives you confidence to even speak outside that bubble, like when I started speaking professionally, to go outside that bubble, to complete new group and give a talk, that confidence came from Toastmasters for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did you, because standing on stage and doing something over and over and over again, like the only thing I can equate it to, and it's probably because I listen to a lot of audiobooks, is more so like the comedic scene where people as a comedian, you go on stage, people even record themselves, re-listen, move jokes around, rephrase it slightly differently, or look at their posture and their punchlines and something like that. Is it comparable to that?
Yes, of course. There is there is a little bit of that imitation. Sometimes you, especially for prepared speeches.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if it's a very well-renowned speaker, then everybody can really associate that you're trying to imitate someone. That doesn't really go that well.
Yeah.
So the more authentic you are, the better it is. And I think one of the things I personally like in speeches, and I've seen in speeches that win, are so well prepared that it's been spoken off the cuff.
Okay.
That it looks like the speaker just thought of it. It's coming from the heart. It has no stuttering, no stumbling, no hesitation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look too staged.
Yeah.
The moment something looks staged, it doesn't touch your heart.
Doesn't translate.
No.
Yeah.
So I think I always say that's the next level. It's like the Shaolin, 36 chambers of Shaolin. It's like that. It's like the 36th step where you prepare so much that you look unprepared.
Yeah.
It looks you're speaking off the cuff. It does not look staged. It doesn't look fake. It doesn't look too, rehearsed.
I can imagine. Yeah. Do you look at your own like recordings or speeches in that way and like analyze them?
I honestly hate when I look my own videos. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so awful.
But isn't that where a lot of the learnings are?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the only capper to watching your own speech is you exactly know what was in your brain when you were doing that.
Okay.
You know, like you know exactly what you were feeling. You know exactly what, and sometimes things are things that happen are not things that are in your head are not relevant to the speech.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, should I say this? I'll say this, but if it's just this. So last year I gave a TEDx talk in the FU University. I'm very happy with it. It went well. It got nice reviews, nice feedback. It was about organizational change and transformation. Now, I was the second speaker after the break. There was a break. I got already mic'd up, so I'm now I'm getting into the momentum that I'm going to speak right after the first, like the speaker after the break.
Yeah.
I'm all mic'd up and everything, so I'm very conscious not to drop water. But of course, you want to use the restroom, drink some water. And then as I'm washing my hands, I'm zoned out. When you open the tap too hard, the water just splashes at you,
yeah.
and it's just splashed all over my pants. and my first reaction it was a very light cream colored pants, so it's very visible. If there's watermark, it's very, very
Gonna
visible.
Be more visible.
Yeah, it's. I'm like, why didn't I remember to wear a dark pant today? Like, what the hell is wrong with me? And and then I went to. I'm on the first row.
Yeah.
And I'm really have a paper in my hand, and I'm really trying to dry up my pants, so when I'm on stage and this is going to be on YouTube, I'm not embarrassed by what's up there, and I can't ask them to stop because I need to dry up, and I have no other way. It's too embarrassing, and luckily these cotton pants, they get wet fast, but they get also dry really fast. I saw the video, it's all good.
Yeah.
But even when I watched that video, that's the first and perhaps the only thought in my head that I should remember how to open. But these are so small details of things you should do before going on stage that you only learn by making these mistakes. That next time you should not open the tap too. Like these things happen also at work, but nobody pays attention. Okay, whatever,
Yeah.
But when you're going to be recorded, it's kind of feels like a little big deal.
I can imagine. Was that kind of on your mind as well when you were on stage? Like, did it affect your performance, you think?
No. First, no. When I went on stage, it was all good.
That's good.
All good. There are certain factors that you can't control. So this was one of them. The other thing that was there was the person before me had a very inspiring talk, but it was about war. He was coming from a war-torn country, and he was talking about how the people were suffering and what pain that the locals were going through.
Yeah.
Now that's a very heavy topic to go after because that's a serious topic that's very moving. You can see that really touches the group. Some people have tears in their eyes. Considering the current situation, a lot of people also resonate with these things.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go and start with some jokes because that's the first thing I do, humor at the start. And then I was more concerned about that I should not come across insensitive.
Make light of it.
Yeah, and because it is tough, it is the job of the master of ceremony to change the mood.
Yeah.
But you cannot count on someone to really do that well. But imagine somebody has a really personal story about something like this, which is heavy and that's really sad and that's very thought-provoking, and then you come up with something very silly to get the audience reaction. You will come across extremely insensitive, somebody who doesn't read the room. It's very important for me was to read the room, at the same time keep in mind the YouTube audience that's going to watch it. So it's
that's hard to balance.
It's very hard to balance.
I can imagine. Like I want to do more with public speaking.
Yeah.
Like I haven't.
I'm taking you with me to Toastmasters next month.
I'll try it.
July, guys. What I promise you, when this episode out, he's already been there.
We'll see. But late last year, like my company does a TED style kind of conference, and it's internal. So we still have a few hundred people, but it's internal, like it's colleagues, And I was like, okay, this is a small stepping stone for me to kind of dab into and try it out, see if I like it in the first place. And it
Yeah.
was a talk. It was 5 minutes. Like it's nothing thinking back about it now. And I was like, okay, like I know I'm going to get nervous, but I also know I want to do that. So
Yeah.
I prepared myself in a way that I was going to go first, because
Yeah.
you could say, okay, when do you want to go? It's like, absolutely first. Because then I've done it. I'm done. All right. So I'm there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the first one there. We're going to do this and it's going to be fine. Like I had a serious topic. I prepared, but I didn't prepare too much. Like I feel like that's my groove.
Yeah.
And then I was ready for it. And they bring on this professional person. I don't even know what their title was, but it wasn't from our company. It was to warm up the crowd. And they did a whole 20-minute session and they completely crushed it. Everyone's laughing. And I was like, oh my God, the whole time, the 20 minutes, I'm like, I have to go after this. Damn. Because he was so good that I felt like I put myself down because of that. And I also was like, man, these people just laughed their ass off. They're not going to laugh about any of
Yeah.
my jokes now anymore. Like it was pretty dreadful.
Yeah, I think this is a very common thing that happens.
right.
I think one of the things I love doing is being a master of ceremony. I love doing that role because you really can control and even manipulate the room.
What is that role?
So you are the one responsible for introducing the speakers, and I think the person who's doing that has the ultimate responsibility to set the tone.
Yeah.
So this person should know what the topic is, get a little bit of idea what you're going to talk about, and warm the crowd in a way that they are ready for something like this. Because it is quite a switch from if you're laughing aloud to suddenly something very serious.
Yeah.
This heavy. By the time you get the room, 5 minutes is over.
Yeah.
So I think it's really the responsibility of the master of ceremony to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And move the room in a way that is easier for the next speaker who's going to come.
Interesting. I never saw that role like that, but that is the responsibility. That makes a lot of sense.
It's a huge. I mean, any program, conference, congress where the master of ceremony is inexperienced, you will see it in the energy of the group. You will see how it's people are tired, or there's a disconnect. Some speakers are doing well, some aren't. Some people are leaving. It's really the job of the ceremony master to make sure that every speaker gets the right equal opportunity.
Yeah.
And also the responsibility to bring the audience back from the last speaker to this current stage and pass it on to the next speaker.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've done that on a conference, and I feel like the variation of like serious topic versus funny versus something that's like really deep, I think is not there as much. Like there's not as big of a contrast. So I just winged it. Like here, I'm on myself also on stage. If something funny happens, I try and make a joke and then introduce someone new. But I really like that responsibility of tying the whole thing together, giving everyone equal opportunity along the way.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I think you with your energy, I think you feel the room. You have a good.
I try,
understanding of what the crowd is feeling, the time of the day, like after lunch or in the morning, and those sensitivity are very important to, play with the room. You can only. Like they say, you can only break the law when you know the law. So you can only play with the room when you know the room.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's awesome. But you went from... The only thing I'm wondering is, okay, what distinguishes someone that is good on stage versus someone that's just on stage? Like what makes someone real good? And even for you personally, when did you get real good at this?
That's the funny thing. I don't know if you actually did see any speeches of mine on YouTube. I don't consider myself good.
Okay.
I think I'm somebody. I consider myself somebody who's learning every day.
Okay.
Because it's public speaking for me is like diving. You're never done learning new things. You're never done seeing something new. You're never done exploring a new depth. Because it's unlimited.
Yeah.
And the day you stop doing that, you're going to become a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, the worst thing that can happen to a speaker or a creative person. Because if you don't try new things, if you don't try new styles, then you're you're plateauing.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But there must have been something that you changed, because you do reflect on kind of what you do, right?
For sure. I think I'm trying to think. I think one of the personal big milestone was to tackle my restless energy. I'm a very restless person, and also I think I do get ideas, a lot of ideas. So restless with ideas make it deadly combination, because I'm always trying to like stuff as much as possible in a content, like
okay.
like, you know. And I always thought, like, why are people not, you know, accepting it? But that's because you give it too much. You overwhelm people with too many things. You don't make it scarce. I think to calm myself down and trust that less is more was really a big step. I'm still getting better at it. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I still, whenever I have to prepare a talk and stuff, I'm like, I don't have enough content. But it's really about trusting that less is more, and things will flow. That's, I think, the biggest moment.
Yeah.
And I think also when I started helping people, like coaching or giving mentoring to other speakers, you also see things they can do better. And
similarities also. Yeah.
And now that you say, it's probably a little philosophical answer, but I have a definition of success.
Okay.
I believe it is the ability to give away everything that you have, from a good idea or money or everything that you have to a person, because you have the belief that you can re-establish it all over again. That state of mind is success, or you've reached somewhere. If you ask me, I think more than applause, more than any awards, when I felt confident that I'm good at public speaking is when I've actually helped and coached somebody.
Yeah.
And in that process, I got a great line. Oh, you should try this line. Oh, try this way style. If an idea has come to me, I have never held back sharing it, thinking that, no, let me keep it for myself. Oh my God, this is such a gem. I should not give it away. I have actually given it away. And when I have done that, I actually felt like when I've seen them do that on stage and been successful, that line worked, and people like, oh, that line that you gave me was so perfect, that worked. I felt like I've grown as a speaker to be able to be confident enough to give away these, the best gems, because I know I can recreate it all over again.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's the mindset you should have, right? Especially if you're in a teaching role.
Yeah.
There's enough for everyone to go around.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you can shake this gem out, you can do another one as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what, now that you ask me, I'm curious, what would you want to see in a speaker to consider them a good speaker?
For me, I'm going to draw a lot of similarities to the podcast, because the reason I got better at this, I feel like, is because I started editing my own episodes. I would re-listen to myself and be like, okay, I don't like what I'm saying. This has a response. I didn't pay attention. I didn't actually really listen to what that person said. I was tired. I didn't like my body language. Like, a lot of criticisms then came to light. And I try to be good at storytelling. I try to start with a certain story, circle back to it at the end, be concrete, know where I'm going, but still take the audience with me. I feel like if I see someone on stage that can do that, start with a story, go deep, take people with them, be eloquent in the things they're saying. And exactly as you say, probably prepare a lot, but don't act like you've prepared a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Just naturally flow.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm looking for in a speaker as well.
So prepared but not staged.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. And I try, and I wouldn't say emulate. I feel like that's my preferred style in a way. But sometimes I feel like I'm not prepared enough. Like when I did those 5 minutes, when I came off, I compared myself to every person there, every single person.
Yeah.
And when I thought their content was better than mine, or their story had a better sequence than mine, I would think, okay, that's what I can improve. So then afterwards, during recess, people would say like, oh, I loved so-and-so what you said, and blah, blah, blah. They would point out specific things. And I would be, with those criticisms in mind, I would be like, yeah, but the content wasn't that great. Like, next time I'll fix the content, and I'll make it more sharp, more whatever the hell I had in my mind. That was a hard part looking back. Someone actually told me, listen, everyone's saying good things. Why are you doing this to yourself?
But I know exactly that feeling, because it's first of all, whenever I'm done with a speech and people come and give compliments, and I hope I don't sound cocky, but I do get compliments every now and then. first of all, I'm very tired.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot out of you to even 5 minute speech. By the way, I think it's tougher than half an hour talk, because in a half an hour talk you have the room to stutter, to say a thing twice, or even much more space to maneuver, to come back. And in the end, people remember 4 or 5 things. So you can plant those gems anywhere.
Yeah.
But a 5 minutes talk has to be compact, has to be concise, has to really have everything ticked, and you have almost no room to fail. And the shorter the talk, the more challenging it is.
Yeah.
I feel. But still, it's a very tiring experience. When you're tired and people come and give you these really great words, they were great, and I want to run away. I personally want to run away, because I just don't have brain space to take anything. I would really prefer somebody writing me an email. That happens as well.
Yeah.
That email I read, that email is, I really cherish it. But in that moment, I tell people, it's like when oil is really hot, you don't throw some, vegetables in it. It'll just burn it, or it'll throw it back.
Yeah.
You need to, and right now I am that hot oil. I'm not in the capacity to take in any feedback, positive, negative, none.
Yeah.
Just say, you were good, we'll get back to you. That's enough.
Interesting. Like, I don't know if I do recognize that I was drained, and I set myself apart. I went and sat in a corner by myself, and I was like, I just need a moment. I pretended to be on my phone. I actually just looked at the screen. I was like, I need a moment. I need to be by myself right now. Because I was drained.
I know that feeling. I have once taken a fire exit to the 9th floor of a hotel, because I was getting really nice words. I want those nice words, by the way. Please don't stop saying those nice words, because that's lovely. But I just didn't have energy. I just pretended to go to the toilet, to the fire exit, to go to my room, and I was lying there. I was very happy. Adrenaline was really high, but this is also a performance. You're doing it in front of so much people.
Yeah.
So you need a a moment with yourself, from being on stage to being in middle of the crowd.
You need to recharge.
Yeah. Some people do it. Some people really do it. I struggle with it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
I need at least 10 minutes of me time.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Before I can, I need to recharge my battery. I need to, pacify the inner introvert me, and then give the extrovert me the chance to come back.
Yeah, exactly. I really feel the same in that way. But I like the question you posed, that what do you look for when someone is on stage? Like, what do you think makes a real good speaker? Whether it's public speaking, presentation, maybe even in a more office setting, or just standing on stage. What do you look for?
It's like you can look at the details. So last month I was at a conference of Toastmasters, and one of my friend was the keynote. He has been to the World Championship. He came second, and he spoke about, don't look at the notes, look at the music. You need the notes to create a perfect music, but you don't need to. If you focus too much on the notes, you'll forget to make the big impact.
Yeah.
Those are the words of Aditya. He was the keynote speaker. He's a fantastic speaker, one of the best I have seen, and a really great mentor figure to me. And I really think that's powerful. Like, it's not always about the details, about the body language, about the voice and everything. It's really about the overall feeling people get out of your presentation. So many times I've seen that work when leaders are giving town hall or giving presentations and stuff. They are focused on the slides, or how the slides are designed, or how quickly they want to be done and move on. What they don't emphasize is the feeling that they are giving to the group. Are they giving a feeling of positivity? Are they giving a feeling of sense of urgency? Are they giving a feeling of camaraderie? They don't have no idea the feeling that they should give and they are giving, because in the end, we all take home a feeling. Like, either it is like you feel disconnect, or you feel really charged up, or you feel super motivated.
Yeah.
One way or the other, any event that we have in our life, we take home at least one feeling. So might as well be more conscious about what we want to give through a speech. There was, when I was learning public speaking and getting at it, I would look at details, body language, how they're standing, they have hands in the pocket, or how they are moving on stage, how they're using the clicker, how the opening and closing are. But the thing that I really look for now, especially during COVID times, I saw the need for this feeling. It's that how conscious and how deliberate are you with the impression and the feeling you want to give to the group of people.
Yeah.
Because the classic is during the lockdown, somebody says, in a very monotonous, sorry, not monogamous. Sorry, in a very why is that in my mind? Never mind.
No worries.
In a very monotonous and a very impersonal way that we are here for you. We are one big family. The feeling you will get is, and we got was like, yeah, you're just doing it to tick a box. You don't really care about us. You just, you don't really care. And the same text with a little more care could have had triggered magic. We could have created really good impact in the team. So I think that's definitely what I look for these days. That how conscious and deliberate is the speaker with the feeling they want to give to the group.
Yeah, but that's very abstract, isn't it? Like, how do you give off a feeling? I think I can do it, but I have no clue how I do it.
Well, it really depends on the context, of course, but it's not that hard. It is sometimes just choice of words. It is choice of adjectives. It's a choice of stories that you use. Are you just presenting a data or just giving bullet points, or are you giving a personal story?
Yeah.
I still remember in my first job in India, we had a bit of a reorganization. It was really early in my career, like first 3 months. And one of the department heads once was giving a town hall, and he said, "This is what it means. This is the impact that can happen." Da, da, da. And then he tells about, like, listen, I have been when I started off, I got fired from 2 jobs, but I felt really bad. But sometimes I look back, that was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not about falling; it's about standing up. So if you feel yourself falling, take a moment, but stand up. I'm paraphrasing now. It was long back, 2007.
Yeah.
But knowing, oh my God, even the boss has gone through this. And not just he gave it as a fact, but he also gone more into the feelings, how he felt when he was 23, out of job, fresh out of university. His peers were working. He didn't have job. He felt uncomfortable socializing because everybody was employed. He wasn't. How he was going through that depression. And then, he decided to bounce back, how hard it was. But in the end, he was happy because in that job, he would have been only 2 steps up. But now he found something that really he's passionate about. That I think that vulnerable story made us feel like you're not the only one who's going through this.
Yeah.
So it's also the personal touch that you bring to the story, and that's more than facts and figures.
Yeah.
Emotions.
Making people or allowing people to relate, rather, right?
Yeah.
By making yourself kind of.
It's sometimes it's just choice of words. It's also one of the things we really take it for granted that if you are in a leadership position, you must know everything.
Yeah.
But the truth is, leaders are more nervous with public speaking than a junior analyst or somebody or junior consultant, because for them, anything they do is great. You're a new kid in the block. You're doing something new, you will get applauded.
Yeah.
However, if you're a leader and you do it and you don't do it well, then you will be criticized. So they are much more nervous to do it right than someone, they're putting their reputation out there.
Yeah.
So many times when I worked with people in leadership position, they are much more nervous, much more reluctant to try something new, much more reluctant to make a personal, reference because they don't want to be too vulnerable. They just they are way more nervous.
Yeah.
So sometimes what you see as reluctance and an air of indifference is nothing but nervous reaction. But it comes across like you don't care about us, but it's just they're nervous.
Do you also look at, like, if it's your own leader or like a leadership group, when they're not as great in public speaking? Like when they're great at public speaking, I really enjoy it, and I'm happy that they're kind of the leadership team or part of it. But when they're not as great in public speaking, I do feel it reflects something on them.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what that is,
For
but I
sure.
do feel different, I must
For
say.
sure. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, and this is probably a very unpopular opinion, but I really believe it's not that scary, public speaking. It's actually a wonderful skill to have. It is a low hanging fruit. Trust me, I'm trying to learn driving. It's way harder.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's way harder than public speaking. So I tried rowing. It's way harder than public
The
speaking.
rowing's doable. Come on.
Wow. Well, wasn't for me. So I can
Yeah.
tell you, it just needs practice, and I think it's really about trying every opportunity possible.
Yeah.
Trying every day, or not every day is probably extreme, but every week or so, getting up on stage, taking up every moment to wherever you can speak, to taking help, even conversations with colleagues, make it a speech, instead of just being few words. And I think it's not just for public speaking, for everything. I think a consistent mediocrity is better than sporadic brilliance.
Yeah.
I think if you consistently practice it, you will get way better than people who have this one great speech and never spoke again.
Yeah. I love that, man. Based on that, I think that's everything that went through my mind. I want to round it off here, actually. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
I think it's a real good reflection of how to speak in public, right? The different tool sets that you can use kind of to leverage and get better. How it's not about perfection, how it's about consistency.
It is about
like that a lot.
consistency. Yeah.
Good stuff. Then I'm going to round it off here. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to put all Saby's socials in the description below. Check them out. Let them know you came from our show. And with that being said, thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next one.